And then I was like, oh.
Yeah, he's a character. All right. Microphone check 1 2. This is Shifting Paradigms. We are live. I'm your host, Michael. We're going to get into some powerful conversation tonight. I got my man, Johanse Salmon, with us. Just want to go ahead and say what's up to the people, man.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing out there?
All right, now that's what's good. So we're going to be getting into some topics. Just want to let you all know, Shifting Paradigms, our whole mission is about stimulating critical thought in order to realistically redefine our narratives positively and reshape our reality through dialogue with self-determination. And we've been doing this here on KUAW Radio, brought to you by the Black Family Technology Awareness Association here. And so got Baba G always keeping it up and holding it down on the soundboard. I always want to give my man a shout out. To the listeners, thank you all for tuning in. But like I said, we got my man Johanse Salmon on the show this evening. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency paradigmatics. That's big because it's a hot topic right now. A lot of people are like, what the hell is cryptocurrency? A lot of people are just investing and jumping on it. Some people are like, yeah, I don't know. So we're just going to kind of go on some ins and outs with what cryptocurrency paradigmatics are all about. But first and foremost, Johanse, if you don't mind, just let the listeners know who you are, where you from, what you about, so on and so forth, my man.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Johanse Salmon. I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. My father is from Jamaica, fresh over. He was the first one to come over. My mother's from the South. And, I was born and raised here in Los Angeles. I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, where I got a chance to study. Originally, my degree is in kinesiology and sports studies. I always wanted to work with the team because I was an athlete growing up. And a cool little story, when I was 11 years old, my aunt was a teacher. She's a third grade teacher for 30 years, just retired a few years ago. She asked me, what do I want to be when I grow up? And, like any 11-year-old from South Central LA that's athletic, what are you going to say? I want to play in the NFL, NBA, some type of a sport. And I told her I'm going to play in the NBA. And she was like, all right, okay. But what else do you like to do? Not what is a plan B, but what else would you like to do? And I tell her I really love helping people. And that was the start where I think I really got a chance to understand what was important to me, which is helping people. And so I went off to Morehouse College, like I said, studied, got an opportunity to work with professional teams, to the Atlanta Falcons, to the Clippers. And I got an opportunity to study physical therapy as well. And then I really got challenged at that quarter-life crisis, is what I like to call it, where you're like, yo, what am I doing all this for? So I really pushed when I came back from grad school, which I didn't get a chance to finish because of finances. I graduated in 2010, which was still feeling the effects from the that great, what do they call it, the Great Reset.
Recession.
And recession that happened. And, I couldn't get the student loans. I got some scholarships, but it wasn't enough because I was going to private schools. And because I was taught that private schools was the best way to get the education if you really want to get that extra leg in life. So from there, man, I really pushed the entrepreneurship and really trying to understand, like, why someone like me who did everything apparently right, went to the good schools, got the good grades, did all these different things, and was unable to afford school. So I, kept for the last decade, man, I've been really an entrepreneur, trying my hand in different areas from health and fitness to finance. And more recently, I got the opportunity that cryptocurrency that is what got me here. One of my older brothers told me, said, man, you need to look into this. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? Right now I'm doing something else that's making me like $4,000 a day. I'm making money right now. I don't know what this is. And then he was like, just telling me, take a look at it. This is something that's like for the future. And so I bought my first Ethereum, and I was just like, okay, let me take my time. And that's what brought me to here today, man. I'm a full-time cryptocurrency investor and trader, which are two separate things. I do that full-time as well as other online marketing opportunities that I do. So, yeah.
That's dope, man. That's a great story and a great prelude that leads to what our conversation is going to be about. And I think it's important because I know I'm late in the game. You know what I'm saying? I just started probably like 2-3 months ago. But even investments, something that I know that's a major source of wealth for those who are the affluent and the wealthy. They're investors. They have found ways to make money work for them as opposed to always working for money, right? Passive residual income. And that's something that, for me, like I said, I'm late in the game with this. And I think our community is also behind the curve by and large. I'm not saying everybody is. There's a lot of us who are financially savvy, to do that. And it's important to understand the holistic nature of economics as relates to our liberation and our well-being, right? And so you gave us an introduction into how you got into cryptocurrency and investing. Were you investing prior to cryptocurrency by chance?
Absolutely. Oh, this is not an overnight success story.
Okay, so give us a little background into your investment background that led to your cryptocurrency experience.
Absolutely. So you said a very key word, Michael, holistic. If you understand your history, right, as people of color, of melanin, richness, right, we are a people who've always looked at life as a holistic, right? You have a balance, as above, so below, right? Is that like there is no just one-sided way of doing things. And so what really got me started, if I can really take it back, was when I was probably about 6 years old, and the first Game Boy, that brick Game Boy came out.
Okay.
I told my mom, I was like, yo, I want to get this Game Boy. What I got to do to get the Game Boy? And she was like, well, you got to save up for it. So that was my first opportunity that I can remember me understanding that if you take some money, put it to the side, at a later date of time, you can get something you want. And I was hustling. I was going to couches. I was asking to take out the trash, wash dishes. I was trying to do whatever I could to save up because it reminded me of what an employer match is, right? So in basic investment, you put 5% or so up to 5%, and your employer would match it, right? So my mom was my first employer who matched me, right? And my grandmother, and they all came together with like, Johan, so you got this, and we're gonna, wherever you have, we're gonna finish it up, but you gotta put in the work to do it. So that was the first really installment of me understanding that you need to, what investment was. I didn't really understand then, but then I got further in life where I've been investing all my life. I just didn't realize what it was. So for example, when I invested in my education is something very important to me. I would say my first time really investing into the stock market or something of that nature was in 2008. In 2008, I started looking at investing in the stock market. I got a TD Ameritrade account. Unfortunately, in 2008, my mom passed away that year when I was a senior at Morehouse College. She had a brain aneurysm, and it was simply a lot due to stress, right? And the inability to not be able to take the time to really take care of yourself, right? And trying to follow this dream. So what I realized very young was when I dealt with losing my father at 8, my mother at 21, I realized that it was just me, and every year when I was in college at Morehouse College, I lost a family member. So I really started understanding that if I really want a certain type of lifestyle, I really have to envision what it looks like. And then once I understand the kind of lifestyle I want, I'm able to now backtrack. So it's called reverse engineering. And so when my mother passed, I had a little something, they gave us a little life insurance that she had, not much. And I took some of that money, a portion of it, and I went to go invest it in the stock market. Lost it all. Lost it all. I had a buddy who was teaching me the game, but the system he was in was like, it would cost me $95 to do one trade. And I only had about $2,500 to invest. So that was probably my first exposure. I bought like Six Flags. I had Visa when it first came out. I had a couple other like stocks. and I just really been down. That was my first stock buying time. And one thing I learned was do not invest if you cannot afford it. And what I mean by that is that if you don't have the basic stability in your life where your bills are paid for at least the next 3 months, you have no business investing, in my opinion.
Wow.
Like if you are not good for a minimum 3 months, that's pushing it, right? You're gonna sell quickly, and you're gonna be constantly stressed about that money because you really need that money. And so instead of investing in something like like stocks or real estate and stuff like that, you should take that time to invest in yourself. So that's what I did. So 2017, just kind of fast forward, I'm gonna just skip over some years of a lot of stuff I did, but to get to kind of where we are today was one of my closest friends works for JP Morgan, and so he's a big business guy, investment banking, private equity, and I'm the ideas guy. Look, I find these opportunities, I'm like, let's go. But when it comes to some of the details, I need some help on that, right? I did physical therapy, not business finance, right? But I understand business. And so what got me into that was he's the one put me in contact with the buddy who was a broker. And I started learning where you need to educate yourself first. I didn't do that. I started paying, trying to get the education on my own, and I ended up losing all that money. If I would have kept that money, it would have been worth probably $30,000-$40,000 right now. I had Bank of America, I had Citigroup, all these at $2 and $3, and they all sitting at like $80 a share, right? But I needed that money, and that's what my first lesson was. So 2017, I started educating myself. I started listening to podcasts. I was driving Uber at the time, Uber and Lyft, and I was just listening to podcasts. So when people want to talk to me, I'll have that little chit chat, but I'm like, if you're not really talking about what I'm listening right now, so I can, because my thing is if you teach once, you learn twice. Teach once, and you will learn twice. So I just was like a little more useful about my time, and I would just make sure I was listening to podcasts, books, and was just trying to really get the information. And when the pandemic hit, I had to switch up. Switch it up. So what I ended up doing was I went online and I started getting to selling items on eBay and different things like that. And then, like I said, in 2020, my older brother who's in the military, in the Marines, he was like, you need to look into this. But he wasn't telling me like specifically like you gotta do this, and this. I had to go figure that out myself. He was like, this is how you do it, but you gotta figure the rest out because he's busy. He got a whole family and everything. And man, I start researching. I start finding the people who were talking about it, the experts. First thing I did was start looking for people who've been through this already. Cryptocurrency been around for a decade, and so I was like, yo, sounds very similar to what I already know. It's an industry disruptor. Every industry, I study history. Every century or so, there is a disruption that happens. And that was getting cut down to every 40 years. Disruptions would happen, right? You had the railroads, right? And then you had the industrialism, which was brought on the railroads, right? Steel, right? You had oil being broken down, right? And where Rockefeller splitting that up, right? And then you had like the whole manufacturer bringing in women in the workforce, right? That's another industry disruption, right? And it keeps happening, right? The most recent one we know about is the .com boom, right? Like we saw what happened with Facebook and Google and Amazon did to people. It was obvious. It was like, this is the next thing. And it's not like the brand new 2010. It's been going for a decade. This is obvious what's about to happen. So let's go ahead and make this buy. That was it. It was an obvious thing for me. Like I've lost enough money to be able to learn the lessons that I need now to be able to be financially stable. Because like last year was stability. This year, 2021, the chapter of my life book is called Liberation. So I'm just on a liberation run right now for this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let's enter cryptocurrency now. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about blockchain. Let's talk about these things. What is all of this stuff? First and foremost, what is cryptocurrency? I think that's the pressing question that people just need to have answered.
Absolutely. So cryptocurrency is just digital it's digital currency at the end of the day. It's just like it's very similar if you were using your debit card or credit card, right? It's and that's all it is. It's just a digital asset in the fact of the way the IRS looks at it is as an asset, not necessarily anything different. So you actually can own your cryptocurrency, which is very different. Meaning you have full control over it where no one can take that from you if you have it properly secured in a wallet that you have access to, that you have what we call the private keys for. If you have that, no one can take that from you. Okay, unless you do something weird, and really not even the government really can. They really can't even take that from you, and that's why it's such a big push for the government to get a grasp on it and to identify what it's going to be. But cryptocurrency is just a digital asset at the end of the day. That's all it is.
So when you look at these people who mint these coins or print these coins, is it collateral for that, or is it still just digital? Like, what is it? Is it backed by anything do you know of, or is it just completely just a digital ledger? Like, what's the situation with that?
Yeah, so you're saying with companies, is the question, is it back? What is it backed by?
Like, some people have the coins. You see like Bitcoins. You see like they're showing those coins. I've just gotten into Pi. I got 1,000 Pi coins on mine, and so they're talking about they're going to have Pi coins available, for those who have mined. Like, are these like legitimate is it legitimate currency, or is it just still like a fiat currency that's really not backed by anything?
Right. So let's define fiat. Right. Fiat is fake. Right. That's where the root word comes from. Fake. It's not backed by anything. So I would ask you the question: what is the U.S. dollar backed by?
Right now, nothing. It's the interest. It's based on interest.
Not true. So, in my opinion,
okay,
the U.S. dollar is backed by the United States Army. Air Force.
I agree with that. Now I do 100% agree with that. Yeah.
The United States have over 800 plus military bases around the world. The United Kingdom comes in second with about less than 100. So, yeah. So you have to think about this from a different perspective. If you want to understand cryptocurrency and what's happening, this is a new asset class. You have to stop trying to put it in a box. If I can give you that, don't put it in a box. Just be open to what is being said and try to understand it from that viewpoint versus trying to put it in a box or something that you already know, trying to compare it to something you already know. So if the U.S. dollar is backed by the military, right? Because there's no gold or anything like that. We were taking off the gold standard by Nixon. We all know that, right, at this point. For example, cryptocurrency, most cryptocurrencies are backed by a hard supply, meaning Bitcoin. There's only ever going to be 21 million of them, right? That's what backs it. You can't change the code, right? You can't change the code for it to all of a sudden we're going to print more. And that was the same, and that's the same, if I do compare it to something, it's what the whole point of being backed by something. You only can have as much
demand
certificates to buy demand, right? So if you ain't got no more gold that can back that can't cash in, you can't do anything. So with some of these cryptocurrencies like Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, which are these are newer coins. Well, Doge has been around for a very long time. It's one of the OG cryptocurrencies. But if you go to where their total supply, their tokens, and mind you, everything's digital. There's no physical thing about it. It's all digital, right? And that's what I'm gonna lead into the blockchain after this. Is that if you look at, they have a little sign that goes like that, and that's called infinity. That means you can print as many. That's what make it fiat in my mind. If you can
no
print
limit.
as many, no limit. Which my boy, I love Master P. I grew up in that era. There's no limit to it. Yeah, that's fiat. That's fake.
Yeah,
That's kind of how I see it.
It's a hyperinflationary bubble that's gonna pop eventually.
The first indication of what inflation I think was recorded was Mansa Musa. When Mansa Musa traveled across Africa, the northern part of Africa into Europe, he he had so much wealth and gold that he freely gave to these towns and areas. And it took him almost a century, almost a century to get that under control because it was so much wealth that he just spread around. And that's what infinity. That's what happens. So you create this inflation, which increases the demand. The demand is so high that the supply is not even there anymore.
Right.
I mean, the supply is so high, the demand is not really there anymore.
Right.
Everyone has it. So what cryptocurrency, they're backed by the blockchain. So the blockchain is a digital ledger, right? So that's just like me and you. I gave you $100, right? So you saying now I didn't give you $100, but now we have, Keith and Jade over here, and Keith and Jade said, no, I confirmed at 2:35 on May 25th, 2021, that Johanse gave Mike $100. So we can't double spend that. So it's forever in that blockchain. So it's a digital ledger that doesn't go anywhere, right? And a lot of these things are not hackable in the traditional way to be able to be changed because they are decentralized in the fact that there's not one person or central entity that has control. And they can say yay or nay, and that's giving power to the people. But the people haven't had that power in such a long time, and this is the transformation. This is the disruption that humanity goes through every time. Things go very decentralized, and that gets too much, and then we centralize where there's one entity, and then that gets corrupt, and now we got to go back to decentralized. So right now, we're going back into that decentral nature that humanity always does, and it repeats history and history. Mm-hmm.
And that's so crucial, man, because with the Federal Reserve, with that act in I believe it was 13, under Woodrow Wilson's administration, that completely enslaved everybody. That act, single act, transferred wealth from the people to the bankers, right? Mm-hmm. And so that took off that was what initially took it off, from my understanding, the silver unit. And that's when the dollar symbol went from two lines to one line. Because that single act of the Federal Reserve, it stopped minting money from the U.S. Treasury Department to start printing money from the Federal Reserve. And that's when all the debt was owed to these private bankers, as opposed to the people having the power to mint currency, legal tender, so to speak. Right? So that's major. And so now to this DeFi, the decentralized finance, is that what DeFi is all about? Let's expand on that. This is what I think really puts the liberation spectrum really on focus, because now the people are getting financially empowered to control their own reality through economics. I'm gonna leave that to you from there.
Absolutely. So really quick story. I am now because I wanted to know this type of information. My family is very large. I grew up on my mom's side the most, but my dad's side is actually from Jamaica. And I spoke with one of my aunts, and she told me this story because I was like, Auntie, have you heard about this susu thing? And this was last summer, and I was like, it makes so much sense. So me being a nerd that I am, I went got the book Susunomics 1 and 2. There's a whole book, 2 books. They're on Susunomics, right? And pretty much that what susu is it's and it has many names. In Jamaica we call it partner, right? Like you partner with someone to get the funds, but it's pulling your resources together for a ultimate collective goal, right? So, and that collective goal is every individual person has their own goal, and the group is working to manifest that individual who's a part of the group goal. So I hope that makes it simple, right?
Yeah.
What DeFi does, so what I'm saying is history, and this is why it's so important. People of melanated skin, I'm gonna say it that way, created the foundation of humanity. Right? And if you don't know this, you would get surprised. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we should look out for each other. I didn't know we think holistic. I didn't know we looked at things this way. You wouldn't know these things, which is understandable because things are purposely meant to shift your way of thinking, so you can be manipulated to do what whoever is in that control wants to do. So what that comes down to is decentralized finance is taking financial, I would say, instruments, and like the whole idea of banking, credit, when it comes to holding your money. So the whole banking side. And that's also with trading, right? It gives the power to the individual.
Yep.
Let that sit, right? So normally what happened was, when we were back in the day, and in most tribes, right, we were in our individual tribes, we could go to if you had a surplus of something and someone needed that to get something, you just go to that person, and then the community would check it, right? The community, you would go to the community, the elder, and they would say, hey, I need this for this, and this is what I would give back, right? So if you understood that that's how we've been moving since the beginning of time, this is just a repeat of that, right?
Yeah.
So to understand DeFi, we got to understand I guess you say CFI, right? I don't know. Centralized finance.
Right.
Right. Centralized finance is just pretty much a entity having control over how you do banking type services, right?
Regulations, so to speak, right?
Regulations, exactly. Thank you. And so with DeFi, it gives the power to the individuals who are part of that community. So I'll give you a prime example. I'm a part of DeFi. So what I did was I was able to buy some crypto that was of value to the community, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Just use those for example, right? I took those and put them in what we call custodial wallets. Custodial wallets are wallets that are, they're not like a traditional wallet where you have your private keys, where if you lose the password or get logged out, you just put in your 12 password private keys and you can recover your assets, right? Same thing if you went to the bank and you said, I lost my debit card. Can you help me get into my account? They're like, okay, let me see your ID. Let me get your social, Simple. That's exactly what you're having a traditional, what we call a cold wallet, is where you have access. You have the keys, the security phrase. 12 security phrase. Never, ever give that out to anybody. If someone's asking for it, they trying to scam you, guaranteed. They about to take you for everything you got. So what that means, to get back to it, is that I went ahead and took some of my assets, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I put them into this custodial wallet. The custodial wallet now lends that out at a rate to other people who are in the community who wants to borrow that money, right? So what that is that instead of me getting credit, right? Because you got to think about credit comes from what? It's based off your current assets that you have and your credit worthiness. Have you paid back the loans before, right, to other people? So that's how you know if you can get credit. Well, this is where loan to value, what they call LTV. So I was able to borrow up to 60% from my own assets. I didn't have to do a credit check. I didn't have to go through all this stringent stuff. Like, it's my asset and I borrowed against it. Guess what happens? Because these are assets that are appreciating in value, my credit line keeps increasing, right? But if it drops, my credit line drops, right? So that's the catch. You have to learn how to manage your loan to value. And so that gives power. So the first thing I did with that money, when I had the assets and I started seeing it growing, I went ahead and fixed my credit. I went ahead, paid off debt. I went ahead and make sure I didn't have to pay future income taxes anymore. And I did this because I already had a plan. This ain't new for me. Like, some friends and family people like, man, it seems like you just made it overnight. What about that time I was in the streets, like, struggling? Like, no, this is not overnight. I saw the opportunity for what it was. It was an obvious thing for those who can see it. But, you know, and so if I hope I explained that. Decentralized finance is being your own bank, essentially.
Now that's a concept right there. That's something that we need to know and understand, especially in our community, because we're hurting. You know what I'm saying? We are hurting financially by and large. If you look at the wealth gap, you know, the average African American wealth gap is like almost 100%, almost. I won't say 100%, but it's a big gap between that.
Yeah.
So you see, this is a viable way for us to almost like literally close this gap here, that we can start to get ourselves in a better position financially, economically, to take more control of our reality, our communities and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Every community has done it, including our community. So one of the things I got exposed to by going to Morehouse was you would say the elite of African Americans, the educated, right? The ones who, you know, the Baldwin Hills. There's a book that I read was called Our Kind of People, and it talked about the elitistness of our community. I didn't know nothing about this growing up in South Central LA. You know, nobody in my family like has money like that, and it's not generational like that, right? And so what happens in our communities, we're starting over and over. Every generation starts over from the bottom. And that's where we fail, is that in our community, we've been manipulated and brainwashed to think short term. What that means is, like, I got to get it right now. YOLO. You only live once. No, you only die once. You can live every day, right?
You live every
so, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So the way I see it, and the reason why I'm speaking up about it, right, and why I started, you know, I have a Telegram group, and I'm launching a program this summer, is it's called Get in the Black, and everything that you want to put on it, intentional, yes, everything intentional, right? And what that means is I remember what it felt like for being in the red. Financially in the red, emotionally in the red, spiritually in the red, mentally in the red.
Come on.
You know, health in the red, right? Like negative, deficient. And now that I'm in a space where I'm not like crazy balling or anything like that, but I'm in a place where I am getting in the black. And going back to that story I told you earlier, my aunt asked me, what do I want to be when I grow up? And, you know, I said at the end of the day, I just really want to help people. And that's when I found my mission is like, my mission in life is to become the best version of myself and to inspire others to become their best version.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And I know it's vague, but that's why I was flexible to see this opportunity and not be so stuck. What happened in our community is that people are creatures. We are creatures of habit. Yes. And you have to learn to deal with change in a way that's going to be progressive.
Mm-hmm.
So if your goal in life is to progress and to evolve, when you think about finances, when you think about health, the goal is just to stay in way of progress. I'm just trying to stay in way of progress. Wherever progress go, I'm going to go. So this is something that's early. If our people as a community, we can come together and really see that the opportunity is what we make it, oh my gosh, it's going to change lives. It's going to change life. And it starts with education. So I don't take advice from people who have not done things that I want to see happen. Like, if you have not made six figures, I'm not taking six-figure advice from you. If you are, so I'll explain that. Zig Ziglar did this thing. I did a lot of personal development over the last 7 to 8 years. I've been doing it since I was 18. My mom got me on personal development, right? That's why I talk the way I talk. But when I got to college and when I got into the network marketing, like the MLMs, multi-level marketing, it was pushed big. Personal development. The more you personally develop your mind and yourself and your health, the universe will respond to that. So now you're going to get the wealth. Now you're going to get the health. Now you're going to get the relationships that you want, because you only can receive what you produce.
Return on investment.
Return on investment, right? So, so literally, like saying, I started 8 months ago, July. The first time I put $100 in, my brother told me, just put $100 in. So I bought $100 worth of Ethereum. That was it. Because I started start reading and watching and taking notes and studying, right? There was a certain level of understanding. Blockchain. What is blockchain, right? What is cryptocurrency? What is that really?
Right.
Let's be real. Do you really need to know how it literally works to understand that it's a disruptor? It's a disruptor. No, you just need to know. You just need to know how to use it, not how it works. And our community gets caught on how does it work. I don't understand how it works. But do you understand how the bank works? How they transfer your money? Do you understand how your car engine works? You don't understand that. You don't even know how they make your food, right? And we're so quick to think about, I don't know how that works, and this is because we've been traumatized.
Yeah.
The first thing our community has to do is do what I did. I did a lot of therapy. I went to a therapist. I do a lot of personal development. I listen. I literally listen, and more than I talk. I think if we can listen, and when we have questions, if we don't understand something, ask the question. And the other thing is, like I said, if you can just take that initial jump and then just now kind of go down the rabbit hole, you would say, right?
Right.
And you can now in 8 months, like I've been able to turn that $100 with other investments, but that $100 in my mind turns it into 6 figures. So where now I'm pretty much retiring. Me and my girlfriend, we're moving to Puerto Rico in a week. So we're moving down to Puerto Rico in a week, so we can focus on living the quality of life that we want for ourselves now versus waiting to 63 and a half to do it.
And she was going to be on the show with us, but she had a dinner event, right? So she couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So I was going to have the power couple over here. I saw her in our little correspondence talking about, the PR. We're about to transition to PR, so much going on. But so all of this is resulting from your business acumen dealing with investments, and almost, I won't say exclusively, but particularly with cryptocurrency.
Oh yeah, crypto did it. I'm giving all the glory to crypto. outside of my savior, my Lord and Savior, and the source.
Yes, sir.
Outside of that,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, it's crypto for sure. Because now this is the time. Like, you're not too late. You said earlier, you kind of got on it late. No, right. You can't. You probably can't buy as much Ethereum as I did, or Bitcoin. Like, those boats have gone, right, for the average person.
Right.
So, but there is a lot of other things. So this is the thing. You don't get rich in a bull market. You get rich in a bull market. You don't become wealthy in a bull market.
Mm-hmm.
And what a bull market is meaning, everything goes up. Everything goes up. It's just bullish. It's you can just put money into anything and you're gonna make something, right?
Right.
The thing is that my goal right now, as I said, was liberation. I'm trying to break these chains. I'm trying to do things that no one in my family has done, and my family has done similar things where we've gone off and we've settled, did the migration to different parts. I got family all over now. Most people are not, my cousins, they're not in California anymore, right? So for us, me and Jade, man, we have been friends since 2015, and she's my partner. We used to say partner, and people thought we were talking about, it was something else. I was like, no, that's like my girlfriend. Okay, I'll say girlfriend, for y'all, but like that's my partner, right?
No doubt.
But yeah, that allowed us the financial stability to be able to crypto. Because, and this is the reason why, I don't know if you're going to ask me this question, but the reason why we're moving to Puerto Rico specifically is I saw an interview years ago. Because remember I told you 2017, I was going for it, listening. AirPods in. If you wouldn't talk to me while I was driving, I was listening to a audio book I did Audible and I did podcast, right? And I was doing real estate. I was looking for passive income. Like 80% of my income now is purely passive income. And that's not by chance. Like that's by design. Like that's why the Telegram group is called Passive Income Warriors. You know what I mean? Like we're but you have to get active for the passive income to come. So you gotta, actually do it. And so the reason why we're moving to Puerto Rico, one is lifestyle. This is the opportunity for me and my queen to be able to go on a journey together and be in an environment that is just me and her, right? So me and her can develop our family. We're trying to start a family, right? And we're digging. We've been digging, right? Getting that foundation. We patting, trying to get it set. Should be hitting bedrock, right? Because I don't want to. Because when stuff comes, because it's coming. Drama's coming. I know it's coming. I'm 33. It'll be 34 on Friday. I lived a little life, little gray hair. The drama is gonna come. But if we continue to develop the foundation, and that's the way I do everything now. So my crypto portfolio is. I don't have a lot of these very risky assets in there because instead of taking that money and going and buying something like new clothes or stuff like that, literally paid off my credit cards. They paid off over $10,000 worth of credit card debt. I didn't have that much. They wouldn't give me that much credit. They wouldn't even give me that much credit. So I paid off my little couple thousand, you know what I mean? And then I got somebody to fix my credit. But before then, I saw this guy on my guy John out in Puerto Rico. He did one interview. Someone was like, I heard about your story. It's kind of cool. Can I interview you? And he said he moved to Puerto Rico. He has to pay 0% on his passive income. So that's like if you have real estate and they're paying and you get your cash flow from your real estate from your people who stand there, or if you have dividends from stocks, right? Or if you have anything that's passive that you don't have to work for. In Puerto Rico, if you apply for what they call Act 60, it's the Individual Investor Act, you pay 0% on passive income and capital gains income, qualifying income. So I was like, hold up.
Right, that's a no-brainer right there.
I was like, I got these rules, right, that I got from books and stuff like that. So I always say this: if you want to learn how to pay 0 to no taxes, you need to do 3 things. Okay. The first thing is learn how to earn your money. You gotta learn how to earn your money. Most people don't know how to. Everybody knows how to make money, but they don't know how to earn money.
Ooh, yeah.
You feel what's wrong with it, right? We all know how to make money. But you know how to earn money, right? So there's a difference between active and passive. So I realized that the way the tax code and the way that America works in governments, they will let you know what they want you to do. All you got to do is go read a book that someone else wrote who read that 7,000-page IRS tax document. You don't got to go read that. Just go find somebody who's talking about it. Because if you're looking for, what did they say? Those who knock, those who knock at the door and with the ears of understanding, the information will be available. I paraphrase that though.
No doubt.
I got what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I was like, all right, so I learned how to earn my money. And then the second step is learn how to spend your money. Are you spending your money on other assets? Or are you spending your money on liabilities? Right? Because they're all an expense. But
right. Guns and
your money. Right. So I learned how to make my money. I learned how to spend my money. And then the third thing was I learned how to protect my money. So I got so at the age of 30, I did my first trust. I went to LegalZoom and I was like, I got to do this. I just got to do it for myself. Now I'm getting more professional and it's getting tight and everything. But at 30, I was like, I need life insurance and because I saw what happened to my mom and dad, right? So I was just like, it's obvious. I'm not going to, the answers are right there. Just pay attention.
Right.
So I was like, cool. 30, I got my first trust. Put all my assets in my banks and everything in the trust. So, you hit me with the car, it don't matter. I don't own nothing. I just control everything.
That's everything right there.
So
that's cool.
Learn how to earn your money, learn how to spend your money, and learn how to protect your money. And you'll pay 0 to no taxes.
I think it was the Rockefellers who said, possess everything and own nothing, right? Just on what you said. I mean, that's so deep. And you just answered, because I'm like, it was a riddle for me for like the longest. I'm like, Okay. But that makes so much sense now. Wow. I want to stop for a moment and do a station identification. This is Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom Radio. You're tuned into Shifting Paradigms Live. We're talking about cryptocurrency paradigmatics. I'm your host, B. Michael. We got Johanse Salmon on here from LA, and we're just going in, man. As we're wrapping this show up and you're talking about some things, I want to talk about the market specifically as relates to cryptocurrency because it's volatile right now. It's been bullish, it's been bearish, it's been up and down. And people are like, oh, I told you, you don't want to get into no cryptocurrency. You know, the Bitcoin crackdown that the Biden administration is supposedly supposed to come in on. What's your take on all of this stuff?
I love it. I love it. So, how do you make money, right? I told you, we all know how to make money. What do you do to make money? You buy low and you sell high. Right. You also know how to lose money. You buy high and you sell low, right? So,
right.
This is when I realized, like, that aha moment, right? That what people call it different things. They call it flow. They call it light bulb moment. I mean, you know, in the zone when we, you know, sports, like when you get in that zone, you can't miss a shot, right? And I remember that. When I get back and I ain't played in a while, I would just come in just balling, like, and I'd be sore afterwards, right?
Damn, you left it all on the court.
Left it all on the court. I don't do that much nowadays. You know, I'm a little older. I'm a little wiser, right? You know, leave a little something so I can come back the next day because I ain't coming back for a week, right?
Right.
What's happening in the market is not what I would say normal. But the reason why someone like myself who was financially distraught, I was in the red. Just this time last year, I didn't know what was going to happen. I lost every job I had. I was driving Uber and Lyft trying to, you know, keep the bills paid, right? I've been doing that for 5 years. And because I was always trying something. So the difference is, like you were saying, asked me earlier, is that I keep going. Every time I lose, family and friends like, oh, Johanse doing something new. What you doing now, right? I'm winning. It's any means necessary. It's a mindset. I don't care. Like, half my portfolio is down, right? Half.
Right.
Everybody's down, right?
Yeah.
But it's already recovering because the things that I invested are sound projects, right? They have use case, meaning like one of my like Bitcoin and Ethereum are my foundation. They're the two largest cryptocurrencies. What Biden and everyone is talking about, which, like, if you truly listen to what people are saying and don't just take it for just with a grain of salt very quickly, like, oh my God, yeah, they said this. But listen to what they're saying. They're saying, we don't know what this is. We need to do this. We need to do that. They're saying, we want our money. So any US-based crypto exchange, Coinbase, Binance.us, any transaction over $10,000, y'all need to report that to us so we can keep a record so we can get our money.
Wow.
That's it. That's all they're saying. They said, I want my cut. You making all this money, I want my cut. What's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. If you was the boss man and you was running this ground, you know what I mean? You want your cut. Everybody's cut. So this is what it comes down to, right? The reason why we can make so much money is because it's volatile. Mm-hmm. You can't make no money when it's just barely going up and down. Ain't no money to be made. Forex trading. It's a 2 to 3% that you don't ever make, right? And you got to go risky and add all kinds of, you know, borrow loans and get what they call leverage and stuff like that. In crypto, because it's a new emerging market and a new asset, it is volatile, which works in our favor, right? I literally just bought up so much more crypto this recent that it guaranteed myself another 6 figures.
Damn.
Well, nothing's guaranteed, but I'm just saying.
Right. The potential is there. There's higher potential for it.
Right. I'm like, yo, I'm so glad I had some money on the side and I was able to buy the things that I know are sound. One of the projects that I'm very bullish on, I've already 100x my money already, right? I took $100, turned it to 10,000, right? So I'm like, okay, if I had 1,000, if I would have put 1,000 instead of 100, it just start doing the math, right? So if I'm like, if I want to live this lifestyle, you got to identify what's the vehicle that you can put that money in to get you to your goal. And it's really that simple. You don't need to overthink it. If you don't know, get exposure. Listen to radio shows like this. Paradigm Shift is the perfect. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's what helped me see this opportunity was the paradigm shift that I went through over the last decade, and why most people were looking at me funny most of the time because they're like, "Oh, you on this, you on that, you always doing something new." Well, the market changed, things are changing. I'm just trying to win at any cost, right? As long as, and I've always been in alignment with helping people and becoming the best version of myself. So when all the trash talking and just talk behind my back I didn't know about, thank you for all my friends and family who talk trash behind my back and didn't tell me, you know what I mean? And just still supported me. I am grateful for that. I don't even look at that today. I'm like, yo, thank you for it, because I've seen people, family talk bad about them in front of their face, and we're human. I wouldn't have been able to handle that. So like, I make that joke. I don't know if anybody really was, right? But I just want people.
Right.
I'm not of it like the haters. I want the haters. No, I don't want the haters. I don't need
right. No doubt.
There. So yeah,
no doubt.
So educate yourself. Educate yourself and actually listen to what's being said so you can make your own decision. So when I looked at what was being said, I saw manipulation in the market. I saw the stories that were being posted were reposted, like China being banned. And I saw these things and I said, China banned crypto in 2016. How do you reban something that's already been banned? Okay. You know that. They just said they want their cut. That's all they said. I'm trying to figure out how I get paid. I get paid. How do I get paid? And so I'll leave it with this for that part right there. My father told me when I was a kid before he passed away was this. He said, son, Hansi, because all my Jamaican side family call me Hansi. And my American side, mom's side, they call me Hansi, right? He said, it's their job to take and your job to keep. The sooner you understand that, the better you'll be.
Wow.
That's it.
That's
their
it.
Job to take. They just want their taxes. They want their revenue.
Yeah.
Your job to keep as much as you can. So your Hanse, you ain't got no kids. You got a partner who's got your back. Go to Puerto Rico and pay $0, right? And now I understand that, the better I'll be. My quality of life is just going up from here, man.
Man, that's powerful.
Like, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you coming on this show and dropping these jewels, man. So let's do this. Let's leave the people with 3 key points as relates to understanding financial freedom and liberation. Like, what are the 3 key points that you want to leave our listeners with to go about establishing financial freedom and liberation?
Oh, wow. Powerful. I think I got it. It's education. Definitely, you got to get educated. You got to understand what you're doing. Because if you keep playing the game, if you don't understand, you'll get lucky. But if you keep playing that game you don't understand, you will get wrecked. You will lose. That's what gambling is, right? Patrick Petdev said that. 2 would be execution. So one of the things is I was always told, not until I became an adult, I realized that's just half of it. Apply knowledge.
That's powerful. So,
education, execution, and then resilience. Like if you don't get educated, and if you don't actually execute the information that you got, you take all that information. Like, let me tell you, the most educated people I know are struggling financially, which now is struggling and it affects into their lives, right? They got educated in an area about life that wasn't really in a place that was going to help them holistic. Back to the word, they're holistic, right? They understand accounting, they understand communication, they understand biology, whatever the case is, but they understand the whole picture. So if I look at those three things to get financial liberation and stability, is education, execution, and resilience.
My.
Those are my three.
That's powerful, man. Powerful. How would people get in contact with you? I know you talked about the Get in the Black program you got coming up. You talked about the passive income warriors that you got on Telegram. How do people get in contact with Yohance Salmon?
Absolutely. You can contact me on Instagram at Yohance_adventures. Or you can just type me in on Facebook, Yohance Salmon, on Facebook, and you can, and that's there. And from there, just DM me. I'm a little slow right now because I'm in the process of transition, moving off of the mainland to a U.S. territory. Literally within a week. I do have a YouTube that I will be posting more and information, documenting my journey and stuff. That'll be Yohance Adventures. That'll be my personal YouTube. You can't find that. So if you type in Yohance Adventures on YouTube, there's nothing there yet. But we got a lot of stuff coming that we're going to be
coming soon.
Coming soon. It's a coming soon, under construction right now.
Yes.
Yohance Adventure on Instagram, Yohance_adventure on Instagram is the best place you can find me. Just DM me and I'll get to you.
Word up, man. This has been rich. I thank you for your time, man. Best wishes to you and Jade with everything you got going on. This has been like enlightening for me in so many ways too. I'm encouraged and excited about this, man. But I'll be seeing you in the passive income warriors, and we just go forward from there.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Brother. I appreciate your time, and thank you for this opportunity to share my story, bro. Appreciate it, Mike.
Oh man, beautiful. This is beautiful, man. So this is Shifting Paradigms. This is cryptocurrency paradigmatics. We just went in with my man Yohance Salmon. Actually, a friend of mine, a friend of my cousins. Is how we got connected. My cousin Kevin Bush. Shout out to Kevin Marlowe Bush. So yeah, man. Thank you again for your time. Shifting Paradigms. We'll be back actually next week with another paradigmatic coming up. So this is B. Michael here signing off. Peace and blessings. Shalom, shalom.